Welcome back to the podcast.
We have a great show for you today.
Welcome to the debate. So, picture this. You are at a really nice, fancy dinner party, right? Everyone is dressed up.
Oh boy, I know where this is going.
Yeah, and you are just so tired from working a 60-hour week that you literally fall asleep sitting up on a very expensive velvet sofa.
Ha ha, oh no, that is a complete fail.
It is. But then you wake up in a total panic, you feel completely guilty just for taking a rest. Have you ever felt that? Yeah, me too.
I mean, I think we all have, honestly. It is the worst feeling.
Right. So today, we are talking about exactly why that happens. We are looking at the unwritten rules of society, the stories we are told about our emotions, our work, and the timelines of our lives. Things like, boys do not cry, or you have to earn your rest.
Or the classic rule, real life starts later.
Exactly. So my position today is that these rules are actually damaging lies. They systematically force us to hide our true feelings and, sacrifice our mental health just to get approval from other people.
And my position is quite different. I argue that these rules are actually functional. They are pragmatic. Oh, wait, that is a fancy word.
Let's translate that.
It basically just means practical and sensible. I think these rules are practical tools that we absolutely need to keep society running safely and smoothly.
I mean, I hear that, but let's unpack how we handle our emotions first. It starts so early, right? A child falls down, they cry naturally, and someone immediately says, "Don't be so soft."
Right, yeah, you see that all the time.
The message there is that your internal feelings are just not acceptable to the group. It is pure suppression.
Well, you call it suppression, but think about history. If an ancient tribe is facing a harsh winter, they cannot have people panicking and breaking down all the time.
Sure, but
They need to manage those feelings to survive. It is just emotional regulation.
regulation means you actually understand the feeling. The source material we are looking at today has this brilliant metaphor. It says emotions are like rooms inside a house.
Oh, right, the different rooms.
Yeah. So sadness is one room, fear is another. But instead of teaching us how to walk into those rooms and understand them, society tells us to just permanently lock the doors.
I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that. Let me tell you why.
Okay, go for it.
What you call locking the doors is often just a necessary filter. Imagine a busy grocery store or a hospital where every single person is shouting or crying about their feelings all the time.
Ha! Well, that would be intense.
It would be total chaos. Keeping up appearances stops our personal problems from ruining the whole community.
I see why you think that, but let me give you a different perspective. You are acting like the only two options are total silence or massive meltdown in aisle 4.
Haha, well, sometimes it feels that way.
Sure, but what about just being honest? When we are taught to be so hard on ourselves that simply asking for a hug feels embarrassing, that is self-destruction. It leads to atomization.
Wait, atomization? That is a fancy word.
Oh, right, good catch. It basically just means breaking people apart so they are completely disconnected and alone. Everyone looks fine on the outside, but inside they have a massive traffic jam of stress.
I do not deny that it takes a toll, but learning that you can put your feelings in a box for a little while, just to finish a big presentation or lead a team in a crisis, that is a huge advantage.
Is it, though?
Definitely. It lets us function even when we are hurting.
But eventually, that filter becomes your real face. You turn into a little machine. And that leads directly to our second point, the idea that we have to be super productive just to have human value.
Ah, yes. The expectation of output.
Right. We're trained to believe, I am what I produce. So resting becomes something you have to earn. Going back to that sofa story at the start?
The velvet sofa fail.
Exactly. The source material notes that your guilt is literally pacing around the room while you sit there. Why? Because we hear this invisible factory whistle in our heads, telling us a slow day is a moral failure.
That is a compelling argument, but have you considered that society actually needs output to survive?
I mean, Sure, we need food and houses.
Exactly. We can complain about toxic hustle culture, but the source material even agrees that hard work matters. That factory whistle built the modern world. Let's talk about the vending machine idea.
Oh, I love this example.
Right, so the idea is you put in the coin of hard work and you get a snack of success out of the machine. Instilling this belief gives people a locus of control.
Wait, locus of control is a fancy phrase.
Ah, my turn to translate. It basically just means believing that you have power over your own life. It gives people a reason to try. Without it, people might just give up.
I hear you, but the metaphor proves my point. The vending machine is completely broken.
Broken? How?
You put the coin in, you push the correct buttons, and the snack gets stuck against the glass. You get nothing.
Haha, man, that is the most frustrating feeling.
It really is. But how does society react? It tells you that you just did not push the button hard enough. We know that luck and money and timing matter so much.
Well, life is complex and unfair. That is just part of growing up.
But people do not blame the unfair world. They blame themselves. They think, maybe I am just not enough. That doesn't give them power. It just makes them feel terrible.
But what is the alternative? If we tell people hard work does not guarantee anything, we remove the friction that makes humans grow. The pressure to succeed created almost all our modern medicine and technology.
But at what human cost? Because chasing this predefined success often pushes people into a life they do not even like.
You mean the safe path, like buy a house by 30, get married.
Yes, exactly. The expected timeline. We tell ourselves that real life starts later. Choosing that safe path is like wearing a really nice shirt that just does not fit you.
A shirt that doesn't fit?
Yeah, it looks incredibly sharp to everyone else, but you cannot breathe in it, and it feels entirely wrong. And then your whole life becomes a waiting room. You say, I will be happy when I get the promotion, or I will finally travel when I retire.
And you think that builds resentment?
Huge resentment.
Wait, resentment. Let's translate that for our listeners. It basically just means a deep, bitter anger when you feel you've been treated unfairly.
Perfect definition. Yes, you get so angry because you are delaying all your joy.
You frame the waiting room as a tragedy, but I frame it as long-term survival. The source material acknowledges this directly. Planning is good. Security matters.
It does matter, but
It is a risk, yes. Running out of time before you enjoy your life is a real tragedy. But abandoning these rules completely, that leaves us without a map. A society without a shared timeline is totally lost.
so if we look at everything we've discussed, I am arguing that blindly following these societal lies forces us to trade our true selves for empty approval from others.
And I am maintaining that, while we definitely need balance, throwing away these frameworks ignores how useful they are. They give us security and they hold society together.
I think where we actually converge today, where we agree, is on the importance of awareness.
Oh, definitely. 100%.
Once you realize these are just man-made rules and not natural laws, you can consciously choose what to follow. You can choose when to use your emotional filter.
Right. You can look at the timeline and say, this rule helps me stay safe, but that rule just makes me feel unnecessary guilt.
Exactly. You realize you are holding the pen for your own life. Now, before we sign off, let's do our word tour. Let's slowly recap 5 big words we used today.
I love the word tour. Okay, word number 1 is pragmatic. This means practical, sensible, and realistic.
Number 2 is suppression. This means hiding your feelings or holding them down by force.
Number 3 is output. This is simply what you produce or the amount of work you complete.
Number 4 is atomization. This is breaking people apart so they feel totally disconnected and alone.
And number 5 is resentment, a deep, bitter anger when you feel things are unfair.
Awesome. Well, there is certainly a great deal more to explore within this material and, within ourselves.
Absolutely. Keep asking questions.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.